Ahead of President Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin next week at the G20 summit in Germany, European officials reportedly have some major concerns. This, according to a piece of writing in the Daily Beast, European officials say they have intelligence showing Russia thinks Vladimir Putin can extract major concessions from President Donald Trump when the two meet for the first time. Well, with us tonight to talk about it, someone we often turn to, veteran foreign affairs journalist and analyst, the editor-at-large for The Atlantic, our friend Steve Clements. Steve, thanks for coming on the Friday night before
good to be with you, Brian.
The holiday weekend. Normal it up for us to start with, and by that I mean normal times, the normal kind of circle of behavior around a president. When would the briefings begin going into a meeting like this? These are called bilats. Would a bilateral like this be happening this early at the G20? Would it have happened earlier? What kind of prep would a president get?
There's no reason why a bilateral meeting couldn't be taking place now at this G20 session, but it would be taking place with all sorts of caveats. Because remember, the G8 is no longer the G8 because Russia was kicked out of it. It's now the G7. So Russia's part of the G20. And there are all sorts of concerns about what they're trying to get from the United States, and what are the strategic objectives the United States might have. So an extraordinary number of deputies meetings, principal meetings, interagency process, working through those decision-making through those agencies that surround the president to help guide him and give him options on what to do. None of that, to my knowledge, has really happened in depth, to the point where H.R. McMaster has admitted publicly that the president's pretty much going to call his own shots in this. So he's winging it in this situation, and they have all but admitted that. We go back in history to it was the Soviet Union then, not Russia, but in the very famous first meeting between JFK and Khrushchev. And Khrushchev took the measure of our president then and saw someone who was inexperienced, uncertain of himself, and that had a lot to do to kind of create track. It became very complicated for the Soviet Union and the United States, and many people worry that Donald Trump is going to repeat that kind of history and send a message of weakness and an inchoateness about what the Trump administration wants. And I'll tell you one other thing. The big worry that the Europeans have is that the biggest strategic objective that Russia has today is to split the Western alliance, to put divides in that, and to demonstrate while Donald Trump wants to achieve something with them, at the same time he's saying to Europe, no climate deal, no trade deals, and he's being very rough on our allies at the same moment he's trying to achieve objectives with Russia.
It feels weird to say, but part of the presumed psychological profile of our president that's been written publicly and talked about in the public sphere is susceptible to flattery, susceptible to attention, and perhaps for our viewers underscore just how cagey a guy Vladimir Putin is.
Well, there is a wonderful book about Vladimir Putin written by Fiona Hill that describes the many different Putins. Putin is the case officer. Putin is the guy running the country. Putin has never really left the role, according to Fiona Hill, who ironically now works for Donald Trump in the National Security Council office. So hopefully he spends some time with her. That would be the best thing he could possibly do, to understand that Putin will do anything he can to flatter Donald Trump and to lay railroad track for Donald Trump's vanity and to try to seduce him in that way. And I think that's a real big problem. John Kerry used to get criticized in the Iran negotiations by Europeans for appearing too eager, for wanting a deal too much. And that is the fear that many people watching Donald Trump in this first big meeting with Vladimir Putin have. He looks too eager, and that's playing into the hands, at least perceptually right now. Now, we could all be wrong. He could walk out of this and sucker punch Vladimir Putin, really give him a tough time on what's been evolving in Syria, particularly on the chemical weapons front. But right now, all indicators are that probably won't happen. And that's what has a lot of people concerned. This is not a minor relationship. It's a hugely significant strategic relationship that's complicated, and Russia has been harassing the heck out of U.S. diplomats, U.S. planes, U.S. allies, trying to split the Western alliance, and Donald Trump doesn't seem to care much about that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.